How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great.
I just wanted to ask you about the Ukrainian famine being recognized possibly as genocide. We had no indication either way from the government on this.
It's long overdue. This is an issue that's been before Parliament as long as I've been here, so about 12 years. Every year, the consecutive governments promise to recognize the famine as a genocide and to put in place a serious set of events to commemorate this tragic chapter in our world history. This government, despite all the promises, no different than the past, still sitting on the issue. We now have a private member's bill that we're debating. I say to Parliament, why can't we just simply have unanimous consent among all parties to recognize Holodomor as a genocide, to honor the survivors, and to pay tribute to those who feel that this is a significant part of our Ukrainian-Canadian history.
There's concern in some circles. I mean, you've heard from, there's some historians that say, well, technically it may not have been a genocide because it affected more than one party, more than one ethnic group. Although the overwhelming number was Ukrainian, that it seemed to be aimed more at anybody who was in a rural area at the time, mostly Ukrainians, but also some Kazakhstanis, etc.
By all historians' accounts, the Holodomor was a direct attack on people of Ukrainian descent, an attempt by the government at the time, Stalin's communist regime, to in fact try to reduce the population of Ukrainians and to greatly reduce their numbers. So I don't dispute the history. I think this is clearly, I don't think there is a shred of opposition in Parliament to recognizing the famine as a genocide, and I just wish the government would get on with it and stop denying what the survivors went through and recognize, just as we've done with, although you don't want to compare, genocides, but this House in one day, in a few minutes, was able to get together and recognize the Holocaust and establish the National Remembrance Day. Why can't we do the same with respect to the Ukrainian famine?
The fact that Mr. Muzen's bill is going up to second reading in early June, I mean, does that give you any hope, or is this going to be delayed in paper to get that?
Well, we've already started second reading of James Muzen's bill. I have no doubt that if we ever get to it, we'll pass it. My point to the House is that we don't need to take this long, prolonged approach. All we need to do is have an agreement among all parties that this bill shall be passed through all stages in one fell swoop and thereby become the law of the land. The Senate's already done it. The House should do it, and we would send a clear message instantly to the Ukrainian Canadian community.